Listen up. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to the podcast participants, and not to any participant's employer, organization, committee, or other group or individual. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. You know, for fun. So lighten up and enjoy. Stomping Jen. We are here again doing the Soft Serve podcast.
It's amazing.
Yes. This is the sweetest of episodes.
It is the sweetest.
Do you know why?
Tell me.
We're going to be talking to Sarah Maroney from Cakes by Pip. One of my favorite cakeries.
Cakeries?
Yes. That is appropriate. I have eaten more of these cakes from Cakes by Pip over the last year and a half than
any other cake.
And I love these cakes, and we're going to talk about these cakes. I have lots of questions for Sarah about how these cakes are made, how she got into cake making. It's a long list of questions, as usual, Stomping Jen.
Excellent. We always like long lists of questions.
And we are going to get to the bottom of this. Are you ready?
I am.
All right, let's do it.
The Soft Serve Podcast.
Creamy, delicious ideas without the creepy truck. Stomping Jen, the music is playing and I'm singing again. I'm gonna make up a song about delicious treats. Cakes and cupcakes and all sorts of sweets. Cakes, cakes, cakes. We're going to talk about cakes. I love cake.
I love frosting.
Do you know that?
I love frosting.
I know you love frosting. And we're going to say hello to Sarah Maroney right now, the maker of cakes and frosting and all sorts of stuff. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I am not kidding when I say I have eaten more of these cakes that you've made over this last year and a half than I've eaten almost any time in my life. I love these cakes, and we're going to talk about them. But first, I want to talk to you. You have a funny story about how you got the name for your company, Cakes by Pip. Can you talk to us a little bit about this? Why Cakes by Pip?
Yeah, so I started out on the other side of the world, in the culinary side, the savory side, cooking on a line in a kitchen. And when I started, I was one of, I think, 2 women in the kitchen at the time. And if anyone, I don't know if either of you have worked in food service before. Mm-mm. But food service has a reputation in the kitchen where ends up being mostly, it's a male-dominated field. Not so much anymore, but it was at the time when I started. And so being one of 2 women, there was always jokes and always picking on us. And silly little me decided to wear my hair in braids one day to work. And then ever since then, the second I walked in the door, my sous chef at the time was second in command, yelled out right in the middle of the kitchen, "It's Pippi Longstocking." So right from there, and I worked with them for years after, I got the nickname Pip, and they never said my name Sarah again in that kitchen.
Oh, wow.
It was Pip from there on out, no matter what I did. So I pretty much said, okay, I'm going to take a funny nickname after that and turn it into something later. So that's where we get to Cakes by Pip.
That is so interesting. I don't think I've ever met a sous chef.
What?
And
a sous chef?
Yeah, and here Sarah worked with one in a professional kitchen.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Was this in a restaurant, like Tell us about this.
This was at a very private golf course on Cape Cod. Mm-hmm. So it was like their clubhouse restaurant style. I started out there when I was an intern and then just stayed there. Once you start working on the Cape seasonally, you end up staying there for years usually. So yes, and it was a lot of fun. I had to have been only 18 or 19 when I first stepped foot in the kitchen. So it was very interesting to work with a group of men who were all older than you, all rough around the edges. Like if you've seen the Anthony Bourdain, all those stories, they're all true. It's true about working in the kitchen, but it's fun.
Yeah, I read his book, Kitchen Confidential, and that was a real eye-opener for me about what it's like to work in a professional kitchen.
It is. It has gotten tamer throughout the years, but it's definitely a certain environment that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, were you familiar with Pippi Longstocking when they called you that? Because Pippi Longstocking is like an older character. Like those movies are from like the 50s and 60s, I think.
The books.
Yeah. I remember watching them when I was a kid, and I'm old now, Stomping Jen. I'm like 50-ish.
Yeah, I think it was still on when I was a kid.
Okay, so you knew who the character was.
I watched it when I was a kid, so.
Okay.
Yes. Yep. So that name just stuck through.
I liked Pippi Longstocking.
Oh my God.
Did you ever watch it?
I only watched it with the kids.
Okay. She was like a combination between like Little Orphan Annie and like a pirate.
Yeah, I read the books.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't read the books. I only saw the movies.
Okay.
Huh.
Are there more than one movies?
Yeah, there are a bunch. Yeah, she was like a superhero.
What?
Yeah, she was like a kid like superhero. That's what I remember about her. Now, Sarah, how did you end up working in this kitchen? Did you go to culinary school? Was this a career objective of yours at the time to be a chef, to work in a kitchen?
Yeah, at the time it was. I was just out of culinary school, so I started there for an internship from the school. And I remember I originally wanted to go to culinary school for baking, but back then I thought, oh, baking's for girls. I want to do the other side. I want to be with the chefs on the culinary side. So I switched, went away from baking, ran away from it, and then went for savory cooking. I ended up getting my associates in culinary, and then I got my bachelor's in nutrition, and then I even kept on going. I just loved it so much that I got my master's in culinary education. So I went the whole time to kind of see everything that it had.
That's so interesting. What drew you to want to study and prepare food? Like what?
I grew up around it. All my biggest memories were people preparing food in the kitchen, whether it was my mom preparing food, my grandmother cooking. So really I was obsessed with Julia Child and Jacques Pepin growing up, and it was just on my life. Those were the best memories of just cooking. I have a vivid memory of, I don't even know how old I was. I had to have been maybe 7, maybe 8, of cooking like an apple crisp for the first time. I can remember smelling it. I can remember cooking it. And I can remember just being so nervous about giving it to the family. So it's just always been in my house, in my life, everywhere. It's how we kind of expressed our emotions, I think, when I was a kid. So I've just been drawn to it since.
Yeah. I'm curious, was culinary school and studying food, like the science side of it and the business side of it, was that what you expected going into it?
I don't even know if I knew what to expect when I went into it. It has a lot more business than a lot of people think. I think a lot of people think we're just in there eating, playing with food all day, but it is real school. It is, you are going through, you do all of your normal classes. And then the science piece of it is that you have to dive into, like you have to do microbiology, different levels of that. So you have to understand what you're doing. I got to take a few food science classes with it too. So it's much more than just standing in a kitchen and learning how to use knives and cook properly. You're you come out of it understanding how to run a business and really why the food is doing what it's doing.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's one of the things I remember from Anthony Bourdain's book, Kitchen Confidential, was just how much business and economics there is in the restaurant industry, and how that plays a role in everything that you do as somebody who works with and prepares food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just that. Yeah. I remember kind of being stunned by that. I guess, I don't know. I'm easily surprised by things. Stomping Jen and Sarah. What I don't know about the world could fill a book.
Yeah, I think it could fill multiple books.
Yeah, thanks. Now, so you started your current business, like you officially opened Cakes by Pip, kind of in this unfortunate circumstance of COVID-19, right? Mm-hmm. And yes. You want to tell us a little bit about how that came to be?
Yeah. So, I mean, the idea of Cakes by Pip started, I don't even know what year it is now. We're in 2021 now, right?
Yes.
I think so. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I think the first kind of spark of it started probably 5 years ago now. Yeah, 5 or 6, where at that point, I was a chef manager in a setting, in kind of a corporate setting. And then I had a friend who wanted a cake made for them for their son's birthday. So I was like, I've done cakes before. I can do this. So I kind of started, and then I loved it. So I loved doing it. And then my grandmother got married, so she had me do her wedding cake. And that really sparked it, where I went, oh, I could do this as a side business. So that's where kind of the light bulb for Cakes by Pip started. And then it was just a side hobby forever. And fast forward to last year, I had since transitioned out of the kitchen. I had started going into kind of more HR world and kind of getting out of being in the chef world. And here comes COVID-19 knocking. And I ended up getting laid off from my full-time job, my daytime kind of corporate job. And I said, okay, well, I've always tooled around with the idea that Cakes by Pip could be more than just a side hobby. So maybe this is just a sign saying that now's the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm never really going to get a kick in the pants like that again to say, well, you don't have the corporate job to use as an excuse anymore. So it's time to jump into it and see what can happen.
You amaze me. People like you, people like you and Stomping Jen amaze me. You're both two women I know who experienced a layoff from a corporate job, and you said, all right, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to do something different. Whereas I know I would crawl under my desk,
no, you wouldn't.
Curl up into a fetal position and cry and say the world is over.
No, you wouldn't.
I would.
There was plenty of that.
So you did feel
there was some of that.
There was some of that. Okay. I mean,
there still is some of that. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, it's
There's
amazing to me.
There's a certain amount of risk, like being an entrepreneur.
There is, and I mean, I don't know if I would have made the leap if I hadn't met people like Stomping Jen and our other good friend April and other amazing people that have taken that leap and been able to see, okay, well, you can take this really just shitty situation and figure out what is the little piece of good that could come out of it.
Yeah.
Well, I got to give you one of these for cooking up something positive out of that situation.
Oh, look at you with the jokes. Oh my God.
So, no, you didn't like my cooking joke?
I did. I called it out.
Yeah. I want to go back to this apple crisp for a minute that you baked as a child. Was this in that feeling you had when you were presenting it to people and you were, kind of living and teetering on that moment before they reacted, and you were expecting hopefully a good reaction from the people who are eating it.
Nervous anticipation.
Nervous anticipation.
Is that what you're describing?
Stomping Jen. I mean that. Were you doing that to get a reaction from your family? Like, I'm curious. Like, put me in your mindset as a child. You're like, I want to bake this apple crisp and give it to them, and now I'm worried they may not like it, or they're going to like it, or like.
We're getting deep here.
Mm-hmm.
This is saved for my Wednesday sessions. Come on. I don't know if I can dig that deep. I think I honestly was making it. I think it was kind of like I was allowed to make the dessert that day. And it was a big deal that I was allowed to make it from start to finish all on my own. Because I have countless, my mom used to sell desserts and breads and things at farmers markets. She had a cafe when we were way little. I was working a cash register, way younger than a child should probably be working in a food service restaurant, but that's what you do. So I really think I think it sticks out so much because it was the first time I was allowed to do that and have that freedom.
Yeah,
and then realizing that, oh my God, somebody's going to eat something that I just made from scratch by myself. What's going to happen next?
Yeah, it strikes me as such a loving, trusting thing for a parent to do for a child. Like, I know, like, when I see Space Unicorn and Ted, when they were younger, near the bag of flour or a knife or, anything, I just get agita. I'm like, get out of the kitchen. Like, don't touch anything. You can't cook anything.
And now we're like, here, go cook dinner. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, now we do that. I think that's a great thing that your mother trusted you to do those things and to make a dessert for a family dinner.
What Sarah just said struck me, actually. So your mom had a cafe?
Mm-hmm.
So is that where your love for all of this came from?
Probably. Most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That tends to happen in the food world. If you meet somebody that just keeps getting sucked back into it, usually they have some form of family cooking history behind them.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you still get that feeling of anticipation when you present a cake.
I get so nervous when people pick up their cakes that they're going to like them, that it's going to taste good. I wish every person I gave a cake to would email me to say, okay, we loved it. But I have to trust that, okay, they didn't tell me they hated it, so it must have been delicious.
I post on Instagram immediately. I look at these cakes we get, and I'm posting all over the place about them.
It's a guilty pleasure reading the comments on those.
Yeah, so I'm amazed by that. I want to go back to something you mentioned a little bit earlier. You got to bake a cake for your grandmother's wedding?
Yes.
Like that, that's something not a lot of people get to do.
No, she was remarried again, I really have no concept of time anymore in life. She was remarried probably 5 years ago. And so she knew that I liked making cakes. She knew that I had made one for a friend. And so she said, all right, try it out. And I made it. I look at the picture now and it was so ugly. It was really adorable, I should say, I guess. But it was a good cake. It tasted good. And you start somewhere.
Yeah, and you said, though, that cake might be the cake that got you hooked on thinking that you could be a professional baker or cake maker. What was it about that, making that cake?
It was my first time making like little gum paste flowers, doing a little, a secondary theme, just getting to play around with different flavors of a cake. And I think because I was able to experience everyone eating it, because I went to the wedding and saw everyone enjoying it, that kind of brought back that same feeling of just getting to see people add to their event, add happiness to what they're already celebrating. Because it's such a little tiny thing, but if you have a really bad dessert or if you have a really bad component of food at your event, it can change it. It can change little thoughts that you have about it.
Yeah, and you get to kind of sit off to the side, right? And while people are enjoying that cake and think to yourself, haha, I made that, bitches. That's my cake.
It really is. There's a slight narcissism in cake making.
Yeah.
Well, I can't make a cake to save my life that has layers, right? I can make like a sheet cake. But I like to make cookies. And when I bring cookies to others and I watch them eating them.
Oh, I observe you when people are eating your cookies. You're so delighted.
Your cookies are so
I can just see it.
I do enjoy.
Oh, you
So I know
love
what you're
it.
talking about.
Yeah.
Like you like make something and people are enjoying them and eating all of them.
Yeah, you do.
It feels good.
Yeah, it does. So after you made, I'm going to call it the Graham wedding cake. Are you from New England?
Yes.
Did you call your grandmother Graham?
We do actually.
I did too. I called my grandmother Graham. So after you made the Graham wedding cake, you've said you spent a long time making these fondant covered cakes. I'm assuming the Graham cake was covered in fondant.
It had a lot on it.
I got to ask a question. What the hell is fondant? Because I'm still trying to figure it out. I know I've eaten it. I know I've touched it. I've seen it. I still don't know what it is.
It's a marshmallow sugar mixture.
Marshmallow?
Yes, it's marshmallow. That's
What?
fondant is marshmallow. It's marshmallow and a ton of sugar.
Huh.
Yep.
Marshmallow.
I need...
Yep.
I need...
Base of it's essentially just sugar. It's just sugar at different temperatures and different kind of structures.
So
I've been trying to make my own. I haven't perfected it yet. And I think once I can perfect making my own, I'll use it again. I just cannot stand the flavor of it in the store-bought or bulk prepared fondant.
Now, in a lot of these cooking shows I've seen on the Food Network, Stomping Jen, they use a lot of this fondant in baking. Why do people use it so often?
It's very forgiving. It's easy to make your cake look. It's easy to create characters, which I still use it for characters. I use it for small decorative type items. It's an easy way to make your cake look very smooth. So a lot of times people use it to drape it over the entire cake surface. So it's all one color and smooth looking. I used to use it a ton because most people do when they start playing around with cakes. And a lot of times I'm not bashing anyone that uses it. I will still use it when appropriate. There's just something that just tastes so much better about a really good frosted cake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did I mention I like frosting?
You love frosting, yeah. In researching you, Sarah Maroney,
It sounds so ominous.
I was getting the feeling in reading your bio and some of your materials that you felt like this fondant might have been limiting you a bit as an artist.
It does. I think I was just playing it safe with it because it was the first thing that I could see that everybody was using. So I was automatically just throwing it on cakes and then going from there. So it does take a little bit more to get frosting smooth and to be able to really create with your buttercream. So I absolutely enjoy that more now that I've kind of figured out a style over the past couple years.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe your style?
I should ask you that question.
Yeah, I mean, I can answer it. I could take a stab at answering it.
I don't even know what a word to put on it.
I'm a fan of these cakes, number one. And they are pieces of artwork. I've told you this, and you've made several cakes for our family over the years, and they are true pieces of art. And we say to you, I'll give an example, and I want to encourage people to go to Sarah's Facebook page, her website, and her Instagram page, where all of these cakes are on display. And you can see them. And pause right now and go check them out, right? Cakes by Pip. You Google that, it will come up. and then come back and listen to the rest of this. And you'll see these cakes. And the one cake that I think I want people to look at, if you go to Sarah's website, cakesbypip.com, under the birthday section, trying to see what tab this is on. You'll see this cake that I asked Sarah to make. It's a Tool cake. Yeah, for the band Tool. And I said to Sarah, Stomping Jen's favorite band is Tool. She would like to eat Tool in the form of cake. You've got to help me. Sarah was like, I can do that. First, I thought Sarah was going to say, get lost. I don't make Tool cakes. But she didn't say that. So she said, sure, send me a couple of images. So I sent some pictures of Tool imagery from the band, right, which are these really bizarre, abstract images.
Right.
And we got back this cake that just stopped me in my tracks. It is a work of art. I'm looking at it now.
He's looking at it.
It's
now.
like slate gray frosting, right? Which I've never seen on a cake before, right? It's, and then there's a gigantic eyeball on this cake with 2 irises, right? And I mean, and then you flip this cake around. It has the Tool logo on it, and this is a Tool cake.
It is a Tool cake.
It's amazing.
But, you know, besides the Tool cake...
But what I want to, just let me finish Stomping Jen. What I want to say is I gave Sarah some ideas.
Yeah.
Right? And she went and created this edible work of art.
Yeah.
This, I didn't even want to eat it.
I know. They're hard to like cut into.
I didn't want to cut into it. Now, describe some of these other cakes, Stomping Jen, please.
Well, because so for Ted, he was into Simpsons and Stranger Things. And I said, well, you know, he's not really into traditional, but he likes these things. And what Sarah did was made it so creative. Like, I wouldn't have thought to do what she did with the cake, which was basically Stranger Things, Simpsonized the Stranger Things characters.
Right. She created a mashup of the themes and elements. I mean, again, another work of art.
Right.
And so these cakes, they have a lot of them have these themes.
Right.
Right. I'm guessing people come to you and say, my kid or my partner likes this, right? And then you create a theme for the cake based on that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my style.
Yes.
We really got away from that one, didn't we?
No, you could describe it better than I could. I would have been like, I put a little stuff here. I like putting interesting things on the cakes. The Tool cake I made was that my favorite part about getting cake orders from you both specifically is they've led to really just fun, different cakes every single time because you do throw like 2 totally wacky things at me. And then I go, all right, this can be fun.
Right. A challenge.
Do you have a moment where you're like, oh, fuck these people again?
There's been a couple times.
Yeah.
There have been a couple times where I'm like, God, what the hell am I going to do with this?
Yeah.
And then sometimes I've made the design literally the morning of making the cake because I've been like, I really don't know what the heck to do. And it's just been having to like, just wait until I'm ready, the pressure's on and I have to make it. And then I quickly draw something and I'm able to create it from there. But that is really my absolute favorite requests are when people just say, my person likes this. They like A, B, and C. I'll ask a couple leading questions after that if I need to. Ask if they have any reference pictures and then they just let me go with it.
Mm-hmm.
I like to add in, I usually go like put crazy little frosting things all over it mixed in so it has like a pretty cake element to it mixed in with the theme of it.
The cake that recently I think you made, I don't even know how to describe it. It was not a birthday cake. It was like for a photo shoot / present that you did that had like brownies and cookies and all sorts of goodies on top of the cake.
I have a really good picture of that I need to. I believe you'll have April Eve images on at some point.
Yeah.
I have a really great picture of that I need to post after I have catch-up time.
Yeah, but it's just the idea that, like, it's like beyond the custom, right? Like, because you can take multiple ideas if somebody's not quite sure what they're looking for, and you like have this uncanny ability to just go ask these, a couple of questions and then just like come up with this amazingly creative concept that is surprising for not only the person, the recipient, but for the person ordering it. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, and the like little characters and like creatures that you design are so so well artistically rendered. I have to ask if you have a background like in art, like illustration or sculpting or something.
Not traditionally. I survived high school because of the art room. I've always loved art. My grandmother did art growing up, and I used to go, she would take me to her painting classes. My mother had an artistic eye. I've just always painted, always loved drawing, and never really got into sculpting until playing with cake. I plan on, when I can, I do plan on taking some classes. I had, when we were living in Rhode Island, I started taking some classes at RISD to do night classes to really start to hone in on learning how to draw and paint better, because it translates to what you're doing. I would love to learn how to paint on cakes better, to really start bringing in other new elements. And sculpting is on the list. I want to find a clay maker out here and learn how to sculpt and do that. And then graphic design will be on the list. So it's just evolving. I've always loved art, and now it's translating that art into food and then kind of continuing to grow and learn from that. I'm one of those like lifelong learner people.
Yeah, I've said this. I mean, you're an artist. This is art. It really is. Like, and
it tastes good.
And you do other things, not just these incredibly artistically rendered theme cakes. I heard of somebody, probably the best thing I've ever heard of a husband doing. They asked you to recreate their wedding cake for their anniversary.
Oh my God.
What?
I can't imagine who that person was.
Who was it, Stomping Jen? Oh, right. It was
my neighbor.
It was me. Right. And I did this secretly. Now, people can communicate with you secretly for these surprise projects, right?
Yes, I have had quite a few secret communications to surprise their spouse, significant other with a special cake.
Yeah, so I mean, you can really your imagination is kind of the limit when it. I mean, obviously, are there limits to what you can do with a cake? Like, are there ideas that you can think of that if somebody asked you to do, you'd be like, I probably don't want to do that?
I haven't hit that limit yet. I keep getting asked to do new things, and if it's something I've never done before, I'll let the person know to say, I'll do this. I've never done this type of design, but let's do it. Because again, I'm not going to know if I could do it unless I tried. So I haven't hit that wall yet. I have had one cake collapse on me. Oh no! Like completely collapse. Thankfully it wasn't an ordered cake. This was early on. I was making a cake for my husband's cousin always did an annual 4th of July party. They do like this big 4th of July Olympic thing. And so I wanted to bring a big solo cake cup that was like layered on top of like totally blown out 4th of July, like ridiculous cake. And unfortunately, we had to travel from Rhode Island to Belchertown at the time. And actually, that was the same weekend where I did lose one ordered cake that I had to fix quick. It was really hot out, and we had to drive the entire way here. And by the time we got to Belchertown from Rhode Island, the cake literally was just crumbling on my lap in the car and just started falling apart piece by piece. So it does happen. Thankfully it hasn't happened since.
And when you make a cake, are there things you can do from a design perspective because some of your cakes are quite tall. I'm looking at these. They're multiple layers.
So if it's a double layer cake, or 2-tier, I should say, if it's a 2-tier cake, you put supports in it. So there's a whole like dowel support system you put in. There's boards that you put between the cake layers. So it really does you have to have like a small ounce of understanding structure and what will hold it up. And when you fail, it fails hard.
Yeah, what was the cake you got me? The
soft alien Sasquatch.
Yeah,
mashup.
Yeah, Sarah and her Cakes by Pip made a soft serve podcast cake for my birthday, and I don't know how this cake.
It was so tall.
Well, but it also had like gooey banana layers in it.
It's true,
and somehow it didn't collapse.
Yep,
it was delicious.
That was I had never done that before cake. But I wanted to try something.
But what was in there, Stumpy Jen? Banana?
Chocolate cake.
Peanut butter.
With banana cream filling and peanut butter frosting.
Yeah, and I'll have all of you.
Really good.
I'll have all of you know listening to this. It wasn't like an artificial banana flavor. This was
there were bananas falling out of it. They like melted out. Real
bananas. It was so good. I'm getting hungry talking about these. This happens to me every time we do a food podcast. I get so hungry.
I should have sent cake to you before this so you could be eating.
We could have been eating the cake. Oh my God.
No. I was just thinking back to the strangest cake I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a Cakes by Pip cake. Somebody I know got a vasectomy, and they were celebrating their vasectomy, and it was the cake was like a penis that had a big knife sticking out of it, like
oh my God.
A penis.
A what?
A penis.
A what?
A penis. What?
Just the way you keep saying.
And it had a scalpel sticking out of it. Like
who made that cake?
I can't say who. I don't know who made it, and I'm not going to say who it was for. But I saw a picture of this cake once, and I was just thinking to myself, wow, what an incredibly creative idea to celebrate this event in this person's life.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because it was for them it was a cause of
celebration
something to not.
That's all right.
Yeah, I liked that. It was funny.
Where are you going with this?
I just was mentioning the strangest cake
kind of
I've
cake
ever
was
seen.
It?
I don't know what kind of cake it was. I just saw a picture.
What was
of
it in the shape of? Sorry, Sarah. Let's go back to Cakes by Pip. I think he's trying to ask you what the strangest cake. But you already talked about that.
Yeah, but I was just mentioning the strangest cake I've ever seen.
What's the strangest cake that you've ever seen, Sarah?
Oh, I don't even. That's a strange cake. I don't know if I can top that. I like looking at cake fails. That's another. Fails. I don't know if you've watched. Oh my gosh, what is the name of the show? It's a guilty pleasure.
Nailed It.
Nailed It. Thank you.
Oh, we love Nailed It.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Didn't we do something and we...
Did we do a Nailed It?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I love watching that show because it's so
ridiculously absurd.
And it's not mean-spirited.
No, it's not. Everybody laughs.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But none of your cakes look like Nailed It cakes.
No, your cakes don't look like Nailed It cakes.
There's not. I haven't taken a picture of any of the Nailed It cakes. Those don't get pictures.
I think I've had some Nailed It moments in my life.
You?
Oh, I had the sponge cake that fell apart on me because I put in the bun. It was like
you disassembled the bun pan.
I poured the batter in. It was wrong, but it was too late, so I had to cook it anyway. It was all over the place.
Yeah, and who rescued you out of that situation?
Oh, Sawtooth Frank.
Right. What I said is, oh, quick, let's take a cookie pan and slide it under there so it doesn't leak
Did
all
I
over
mention
the
I
bottom.
really like making cookies?
You do like making cookies.
Cookies are so much easier.
Now, Stomping Jen, let's get back to our guest here, Sarah Maroney from Cakes by Pip. I want to talk about how when you go onto her website, right? So you want a cake. You want her to make you a cake. It could be a themed cake. It could be a replica of your wedding cake, right? If you're that thoughtful and you do something like that, then
you could have any kind of occasion cake.
So you go there, and she has a page on her website called offerings, and there's a list all of these flavors.
Yeah, and that's the hard part.
I'm looking at this list. I want everything here.
Yeah, I want all the flavors.
I want to just read some of these flavors. These are like the baseline flavors. There's signature vanilla. Now, do you do something special with this vanilla? That it's your signature vanilla?
I call it signature because it's a delicious vanilla cake. It's super soft. It's very vanilla-y. Again, I don't know what it's hard to explain. It's a recipe that I started and just kept tweaking and tweaking and tweaking until it's just,
that's the recipe.
In my opinion, the perfect vanilla cake every time.
Yeah.
It's good. I've had it. There's light and fluffy chocolate. There's ooey gooey chocolate.
That's my favorite. Ooey gooey chocolate.
Popular. Very popular one.
Marble cake. You don't see a lot of marble cakes anymore.
Space Unicorn always wants marble. Her cake
she
was
does.
marble.
Okay. Almond, lemon, spiced. That's interesting.
What a spiced cake.
Coffee. That sounds good. Hazelnut. Pound cake. Gotta be honest, I'm not a fan of pound cake. I don't like the texture of pound cake.
You know why they call it a pound cake?
What?
Because it has a pound of butter. Didn't we talk about this before?
I think so.
Here's the good news. I don't have to have that if I don't want it.
That's right. You can order the ooey gooey chocolate.
Yeah.
Banana. All right, and then we get into these premium cakes. And now, I just have a general question. Like, why are the flavors listed here under premium because they require like more labor to do, and they're just
probably more expensive,
and they're more costly ingredients? Like, is it hard? Are they technically harder cakes to pull off?
Some of them are. There's a couple, like there's a hazelnut chiffon style that's harder to make. And then there's some that it's just more ingredients or more expensive ingredients.
Shut the front door. I want 90s cereal.
One? Oh, the 90s cereal.
What?
I haven't had anyone order it yet. So the next cake you get needs to be 90s cereal.
Who's the next occasion?
I didn't even see this on here.
I want to
have to make a batch.
I know. I want like a 90s cereal cake for no reason.
Now let me read some of these premium flavors. I'm liking what I see here. I am a fan of carrot cake. I love carrot cake. Coconut, which is my favorite flavor.
Favorite flavor?
It's my all-time favorite flavor.
Even more favorite than the cake that we had Sarah make you?
Each cake to me is like a child. It is its own thing, and you don't love one more than the other.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You know, you love them all differently. Lemon basil Stomping Jen. You make a lemon basil cookie.
I know. I think that is... maybe I'm wrong, but we had her make one for Ted that was lemon basil.
Stomping Jen is the originator of the lemon basil.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a cake I actually know how to make because it's only one layer. It's not multiple tiers.
Now, champagne. I don't think of champagne as having a flavor.
Sure it does.
It does?
Yeah.
It's like a sweet, almost like tangy-ish flavor.
Yeah. Champagne flavor.
Yeah. Okay. 90s cereal. We talked about that one.
The 90s cereal.
Now, what would go in a 90s cereal?
I don't know.
You could get it two different ways. You could either do it Fruity Pebble style,
oh,
get it fruitier, or you could do like Captain Crunch style.
I want a Captain Crunch cake. We're going to order one just for shits and giggles. I need a cake.
I'd probably go with the Captain Crunch cake.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Did I not just say that? I said that.
Red velvet. My grandmother
your grandma
used to make a red velvet cake.
That was in her recipe book. I've never tried to make red velvet.
I might have to do something with that. I'm going to bookmark that one. Earl Grey. That would surprise me. Now, do you
Earl
use?
Grey, I did it for a wedding, like little mini cakes for a wedding, and they wanted it, so I tried it and loved it and kept it.
I see myself sitting there with a cup of tea drinking that.
Oh my God. I think we need some cupcakes, 90s cereal cupcakes.
It could be breakfast, so
Yeah.
it's tea. You have tea at breakfast, right? So it's breakfast cake.
No, I drink tea at night.
No, we just, we're drinking tea.
I have a whole like fantasy in my mind about
What?
this Earl Grey cake. It's a fall afternoon. The yellowish sun is beginning to set.
Oh my God.
There's a frost in the air. I go out on the porch.
I can see him like frolicking in the forest with a Earl Grey cake.
No, I'm sitting on the porch. I'm wearing a wool
Oh
sweater.
my God. This is a photo shoot.
I have a slice of the Earl Grey cake.
I'm going to remember this.
It's on the podcast forever.
A cup of Earl Grey tea.
Yeah.
And I'm going to enjoy the cake by sipping my tea on the porch, smelling the leaves, smelling the...
What is happening right now?
I'm telling you how I'm fantasizing about this cake.
Oh my God. I'm still stuck on the 90s cereal cake.
Well, now I know I need to make you a 90 cereals cake.
Right?
All right, another premium flavor, pistachio.
I like pistachio.
Yeah, that's good.
That one's good.
Yep. And then angel food cake. I don't know what that is.
Yes, you do.
Is that what's in devil dogs? Why are you laughing? What?
It's usually, you know, like when you get strawberry shortcake, but it's with cake,
It's
not
like a
with
white cake.
a biscuit.
It's like white. It's like white.
Yeah, it's really light and fluffy, sticky on the outside.
Okay, I do know now.
Yes, you
Is
do
that
know
devil's food cake? In
Devil's
the
food
Yes.
cake is chocolate.
Oh.
That's the chocolate.
Is that why it's called a devil dog?
I'm going to freaking kill you. Oh
I'm not even joking.
my God.
Remember I started out by telling you I don't know a lot of stuff?
Remember when we used to eat devil toys
right,
and
those- so-
Twinkies?
I mean, I want every one of these darn things. And then there's the frostings. There's this long list of frostings.
I know. It just goes on and on and on. What kind
Have we calculated the statistical combinations
No.
of possible cakes?
No.
I'd be scared. There's a lot.
What do you put with the 90s cereal?
I need a statistician on this.
What
90s
frosting would go
90s
with that?
cereal, you would do, there's a cereal milk frosting that you do with it.
What?
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I
Are
need
you
that
kidding me?
right now.
And then we would put some crunch in it. So you'd actually put some of the cereal in it. So you get a little crunch when you eat it.
Oh my God. I want
the
that
hell?
post
Oh,
taste.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Can we
That
have
sounds
a-
so good. So anyways,
I'm
I'm
going to
going
have a
to
cake party.
let me read off some of these frostings. Okay.
Okay.
Real quick. I'm going to go down the line. We have these are American buttercream frostings. So
They're all American.
let me
butter.
just ask a question again. Is there another type of frosting? A sugar frosting, right?
No.
And we don't like that.
I like all the frosting.
Yeah,
So
but
you've had both. You've had both
Okay.
the sugar, it's the Italian or the Swiss. You've had the Italian buttercream. The tool cake was Italian buttercream.
okay.
It's silkier.
Hmm.
And then American frosting it's made with powdered sugar and butter instead of granulated sugar. So
Okay.
American buttercream is if you like that really sweet frosting, that's like it's your classic frosting. That's the American buttercream, where the Italian buttercream is a little more nuanced. It's not quite as sweet. It almost tastes like mousse-like, and it's really soft.
What-
Most wedding cakes have Italian or Swiss buttercream.
Okay, which one do you like?
I have another alternative question. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead. I didn't get to read these yet. But.
Since we've connected with Sarah and Cakes by Pip, we no longer do this. But before we knew about Sarah and her amazing cakes,
Yeah.
I used to go to Stop and Shop, and they would ask you, "Do you want the whipped frosting or the sugary frosting?" And like, I never knew which one. But there's like a whipped. You don't do that though. It must be like a whipped cream like type frosting.
Yeah, it's more of a whipped cream based frosting. It doesn't hold up as much, so it won't. I've done it on one cake before because it was a special request. It doesn't hold up as well for the kind of the structures that I do.
Yeah.
But what that's good for if somebody just wanted a very like a naked cake, like a light cake like that. I could do like a whipped frosting, but that's more of a heavy cream based. It doesn't last as long.
Mm-hmm. What do I like? I like sugary frosting.
Okay, so you like this? You would like the American?
I like any frosting. I have to be honest with you. I'm pretty.
All right, some of these flavors of frostings, and again, you can combine these to make endless amounts of creations. Stomping Jen, we have vanilla, we have chocolate, peanut butter. I love peanut butter. Coffee and espresso, lemon, hazelnut.
I like hazelnut.
Pecan. That's a nice nut. I like the pecan.
Oh my God.
My grandmother used to make a pecan pie. Raspberry, orange. Huh. Orange frosting. Is that challenging to make?
No. It's different flavorings. Use the zest.
I don't think I've ever had orange frosting.
What would you put that on? Like a chocolate
I'm just thinking,
cake?
what kind of cake would we combine that with?
It depends on your flavor.
Or like a
profile.
yellow cake. You could do like a yellow cake with orange frosting.
Yeah, you could do spice cake would be really good with that. Chocolate cake, vanilla cake.
Looking at this list of cakes and thinking, what would I put it with? I might combine orange frosting with a lemon cake.
Oh, citrus.
Yeah.
It's like a citrusy bomb.
Then I would drink that with a lemon tea.
Oh my God. That's too much.
Why?
All right,
That's a lot of citrus.
All right. Orange frosting, strawberry frosting. I like that. That I would want to eat sitting in an English garden.
Oh my God.
Cereal.
Have to have like a whole series. Sawtooth Frank and your cake.
That's how you can raise
I literally have
oh my God.
a fantasy for every one of these cakes.
Oh my
Seriously,
God. Collaboration.
eating cake.
I could see us creating a soft serve podcast calendar with you and the cakes, and April could shoot it. It would be amazing.
Yes.
I would eat. I literally have a fantasy for every one of these cakes.
I think we should do this. This is a great collaboration. This would be so much fun.
Toasted marshmallow. That's a good flavor.
That one you put on your s'mores
Yeah.
cupcake, right? I've had that. That's really good.
Yeah.
With the graham cracker
Right.
base.
Coconut, cream cheese. And then we get into the premium.
That's the Italian.
Right. That's the Italian and a lot of the same flavors here.
Right.
Same flavors. It's premium because Italian takes a lot more effort to make.
And then we have fillings.
Right. That's the stuff that goes in between the cake layers.
Cookies and cream.
I want that.
Stomping
With my
Jen
90s
and Sarah.
cereal.
Blueberry jam. How do you get blueberry jam? Where does that come from? Did you just buy it at the store? Okay.
I've made it before.
Well, see, that could be
a lot of times it comes to, I get the premium though. A lot of times it comes from the store. I get the premium. I have made it. And if I have nice fresh, I'll do like local fresh blueberries in the summer and spring.
Yeah.
And then make a really nice jam with it.
Yeah. See, that could be a collaboration with Oak and Ash. Have her do some jams.
I love
Maple syrup.
Yeah, and I just want to mention, since we name dropped them, April Eve Images. We're going to be interviewing her about her business on the podcast, and also Oak and Ash Farm, who with our 2 episodes
Two already
with Lindsay and Matt.
Yep.
Go check those out. Those are very popular episodes. People like them.
Lemon curd.
They're a lot of fun.
Lemon curd.
Lemon curd, yeah.
So
Apple
good.
butter. Ooh. I have another fall.
He has another scenario. I can see it forming in his eyes.
Yep.
Like, oh, apple butter.
I have another
With a bucket of apples
Need to
on
be
the
ready.
side.
I have another fall fantasy springing up around that.
Oh my god.
Ooh, this one I think is interesting. Cranberry jelly. Yeah, that would be a
That's like a Thanksgiving one.
Yeah.
That's your
like a spice cake.
That's your November.
Now pair that with the turkey frosting, and no, we don't have that. No, okay. Now listen, we also have crunch layers.
I love a crunch.
I can't even believe this. There's so many amazing things here. There's graham cracker, crust. What is crust?
No, like graham cracker crust.
Oh,
it's one.
It is
complete thought. Yes.
Oh well, I thought like pie crust could be an interesting layer.
It could be. It absolutely could be. I could do like a Thanksgiving style cake.
Yeah, hazelnut toffee. candied pecans.
Oh, there he goes again.
Chocolate chip cookie, chocolate wafer crumble, toasted walnuts, honeycomb candy.
Yep, that's what he wants.
Oh my God. Chocolate toffee, peanut butter cups, toasted coconut. I mean, I know I'm joking. And then there are things you can put on top of these cakes.
Oh my God, he's reading the entire menu.
No, this is important. I need people to understand what can be gotten here. Endless cakes, Stomping Jen.
Endless.
Infinity cakes.
Endless. And I'm sure if somebody wanted something, you would figure out a way to make it.
That's just what I could get out of my brain on paper. And
Oh my God.
people are always asking for new flavors.
Yeah, I want to mention that because I think there was a cake for our son, Ted, I believe. And we asked you to use
We
like
talked about that.
half the amount of sugar.
Yeah.
We did talk about that already?
Well, we talked about the lemon basil cake.
Yeah, no, but our son, Ted, he's not a big fan of
Sugary frosting.
sugary frosting and sweets. And Sarah made a cake that had less sugar in it. It was delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, I personally liked that cake. That was a good cake. So the point is, when you're ordering these cakes, this is a custom experience,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
And this is,
It's not like walking into Stop and Shop and they say, do you want the whipped topping or the sugary topping?
Not at all.
no, so
But it's also not the price of walking into Stop and
Yes.
Shop for the whip
Yeah.
topping.
Yes.
The other frosting.
I mean,
Yeah, these are works of art, people.
they're event cakes.
Yes.
Right? They should be
Yeah.
part of the present,
Right.
right?
Some cases they are the present.
Well, right. No, I mean, you're joking, but you're
I'm
not.
not joking.
Like, because there's a lot of, especially if you're doing secret communication with Sarah around ordering a cake,
yeah.
there's a lot of work that goes into thinking about designing the cake,
Yeah.
what
I mean,
flavors,
there's
the
design.
themes.
Yeah. The construct, the how does it gonna
No, my point is
her time has value, is what I'm trying to
but
say.
I know we're going to get to that, and yes, it does. But my point is that you, as the cake orderer, right?
Right.
This is not like walking into Stop and Shop and pulling a cake off the shelf. This is, you have an opportunity here to really present something that will blow the recipient's socks off.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And yes, it may be a little more expensive, but this is going to be the centerpiece of your event. These are event cakes.
Yes.
That's all I'm trying to say, Stomping
Thank you.
Jen. And
Thank
Sarah, Sarah puts in a lot of thought and work into these things. So don't even, this is one of these things, you don't think about the price going into this.
Oh no. Well, I mean, you do if you need to. Say I have a budget. This is my budget. What can you do for my budget?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And that's something people should communicate, right?
Yes.
They do, and I ask
Yep.
that question. I'm finalizing pricing cakes is interesting. It's I'll never, if I said what my technical hourly wage while I'm making a cake is, it's not anything really. It's you have to learn and be fast while making your cake, but still making it special. And then really where it kind of comes into being valuable is when you end up with a few different orders in a row. So then you kind of utilize your time strategically for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it takes a lot of work. A lot of work goes into these and a lot of hours, especially for the higher the design. So that is a conversation that if I working with someone who hasn't really ordered custom cakes before, that I've had people get surprised with how much they can be sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is because it's not just bulk making. It's I'm standing there making every little piece of it, drawing every piece, literally painting in some cases with food coloring.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it does take a lot of time and effort to go into them.
Yeah. But they're worth every penny.
Yeah.
I make sure that they're worth it. I make sure that they taste good and everyone's happy with it.
That's great. Now, and you're thinking as the year goes on here, you're thinking about maybe adding some other things to the PIP culinary
Empire.
basket.
Basket.
Yeah. It's a basket. That's where you put things in.
Okay.
What kinds of stuff are you thinking about doing?
So one of the first things that I'm working on launching is a sample box. So I've had some really big success. I did a cookie box back at the holiday time, and it ended up being very successful and worth the time. It was like a make your own cookie box. So I'll probably do more of those. Yeah. But it sparked the thought of, as you're listing off all these flavors, you always get the question of which flavor should I have? And I love them all. So it's hard to give people an answer to that. So it sparked the idea of doing kind of a tasting box where I'm deciding, I'm finalizing if I'm going to launch it quarterly or monthly, where someone can sign up to receive a seasonal sample box of different flavors. So I would make like a big layer, big sheet cake, and then cut it up into little squares. And you would get to taste different flavors on the menu.
Jesus Christ, this is like a cake CSA.
Yep. Uh-huh. And then I would add in like crunches. So I would put in some toffee in there, or the macarons, or some cookies and brownies. So you could really get a sample of all of it. And that's going to be the biggest launching that I'll be doing this summer.
I want to say something.
That will launch that for people to be able to order.
I want to eat all.
I want to say something about this sample box. Are you ready?
Yes.
Yes.
I want all of the samples. All right, enough.
Yeah, this is amazing. A baked good CSA. Stomping Jen, sign us up now immediately.
Yes.
I want these. That's a great idea. I love that.
I want to eat them.
You will.
I want the corner pieces always.
I'll just drop off. Yes, I'll drop off all of the corner pieces forever.
And I gotta say,
you're always ordering my cakes.
We did these decorate your own cookies kits back a few months back in the winter.
Yeah.
And it was a great thing to do.
It was so much fun as a family.
Everybody was moping around our house. They were like, we have nothing to do.
Yeah.
And we said, bullshit, we're going to decorate cookies. We had a great time.
We did have a great time.
And we pulled out this kit, and we had a Hanukkah themed one, right? Because we celebrate Hanukkah here, and we had dreidels and Stars of David.
Yeah. And Ted somehow managed to reconfigure his cookie cutouts to different shapes.
That's right.
It was very creative on his part.
Yeah. There was a Pac-Man.
Yeah, there was a Pac-Man. I think that was the Valentine's Day kit.
That was the Valentine's kit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had a grand old time. It kept us occupied for a few hours. It was a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
And then we ate them.
Yeah, then we ate them.
Right, so I'd love to see more of these decorate your own kits. See now, were you also thinking about potentially doing some sort of classes for people, or tell us about that?
Also on the list. So we also welcomed a newborn in the house this past year. So I'm adjusting to launching little things at a time as we go on with this business venture. But classes are on the list. When it's safe to do so again, I will be figuring out how to do them in person. Whether it's most likely it will be I go to the person's house with the equipment, and kind of the decorating happens there, is like almost like a little, what are those Tupperware party style events, like doing it like that, where you have your friends over, we bring what we need, and then we decorate it together. For right now, I'm going to be working on launching it via Zoom, and you pick up the class kit. So you would pick up, if it's a small cake decorating class, you would pick up the frosting already bagged and ready for you. You'd be paying for the piping tips. So you would actually get the piping tips that we'd be using. And then you would get like a little cake that you would then have all the ingredients to frost and decorate. Or if it's just decorating, I would already pre-frost the cake, and then it would just be practicing like making flowers and different items, or if we're doing a fondant sculpture. So that's another piece that I'll be launching probably more towards the end of the year this year, of really trying to get those virtual classes up and running. Because that's my background, really, is teaching. I used to do culinary classes all the time. I did a lot of culinary classes at an olive oil store, and I've taught adults, kids, everything. So that will be on the list.
Super fun.
We got to get you some kind of YouTube channel too. Get some.
We got to get her some YouTube.
I just mean the universe. I don't know. I want to go on YouTube and watch Sarah make these cakes somehow.
So we have a GoPro. I have a little GoPro setup. I have a little light. I have the setup for it. It's getting there and doing it.
Yeah.
I've done a couple little practice silly videos here and there, and I'm continuing to kind of behind the scenes do little things to learn how to edit it, learn how to get them up and running, but it will happen within the next year. Absolutely. And my son, my soon to be 4-year-old, loves starring in these. He loves joining in on the fun.
I love it.
I have to say the best videos for me to watch are the ones with the kids in them too. Because like it just shows like you're like a real person with like, you know, kids. You're doing your mom business, you know, like while doing your regular business. I think it's great. It makes it accessible, right? It like shows people that you could be having a 4-year-old and a newborn and still make.
And it brings a fun chaos to it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, also, I think I read you're potentially thinking about maybe doing some consulting, like startup consulting, maybe for people who want to do what you're doing.
Yeah. So that again, that's going to be a little bit later down the road. I'll be bringing in, because I have a business background too, and kind of starting up a small business. And kind of a lot of people have a really big idea, but don't necessarily know how to write the business plan or start the initial costing. And that's really important. If you want to run a successful small business, you need to know how to work your books. You need to know how to at least, yes, you'll hire people to continue that work and to help you get that there, but you need to know the basics of what should your basic food costs be, or how do you even get that initial business plan up and running to get investors or to kind of bring people in. So that is something that I also want to do, is bring in that consulting piece and help other people that are thinking about doing small business, really kind of their, not to stay with them, the longevity part of it, but right at that beginning start. Right at the piece to kind of pull that idea and make it a reality.
Yeah, and you can apply the lessons you've learned out of doing this to help other people.
Yeah, and I'll be the first to admit my business plan is not done. It's not. I'm working on it, but the business plan won't be completed. Right now I'm cooking out of my licensed kitchen at home. And the business plan will come when it's time to think about expanding from there, and when it's time to look at actual brick and mortar.
And I think that's important for people to hear, right? Like a lot of times, and look, I'm not a business person, right? So I could see Stomping Jen drilling holes in me because she has an MBA for about what I'm about to say. But you can get going on your idea. You can get started on your own business without a completed business plan. I mean, you still got to do one, and it's an important thing to have.
You don't, quote unquote, have to do a business plan. It's a smart thing to do.
Huh.
I mean, like, because what you do with the business plan, like, is you're following it. It's a plan for you to get yourself organized.
I feel like it's something you just write and stick in a drawer.
No.
It shouldn't be.
No, it's a living, breathing document. When people say you need a business plan, like, so if you're like going for a loan, let's say a bank, if you're a startup, might want to look at your business plan, make sure that you're a viable person to give money to, and that they're not just throwing the money away, and that you're going to be able to repay them.
Okay.
But if like you don't need a loan, right? So say you don't need a loan, like for somebody like Sarah operating out of her home, she doesn't quote unquote need a loan. She has all she needs, right?
Yeah.
So that's why she can get started without a business plan.
Right. And there are laws in place, I believe, called cottage laws that allow you to do this. Yeah.
And it's exciting because there's they're starting to look at trying to expand those cottage laws because they are limiting.
Yeah. And the goal is to, at some point, get you into, hopefully a local kind of brick and mortar kitchen space, maybe even a spot where you could serve some of these delicious goods.
Yes, that's the absolute goal. Very small. I can picture it in my head. I've already have it all planned out. But that would be the end goal. Absolutely.
As part of your picturing and fantasy of this bakery/eatery involve Sawtooth sitting in the front with his baked goods.
There'll be a nice comfy armchair right in the front.
That's right.
Gazing out the window as he eats his Earl Grey and lemon frosting cake.
Oh my God.
I think I would have a peppermint tea with that combination, Stomping
Jesus
Jen.
Christ.
Oh.
No.
No?
I can't agree with that one. Oh.
Sorry. I'm
feeling so judged here.
I'm gonna go completely left field again.
Go ahead, please.
So I've been lusting after going out to Worcester to this donut shop because they have Vietnamese coffee donuts.
Yeah.
Will you be planning on making a Vietnamese coffee flavored cake soon?
So donuts. I have made a total of 1 order of donuts through this house. They're tough. Donuts are tough to do in this setting. Mm-hmm. Donuts may not happen until I can get an actual deep fryer.
Yeah. But not donut. No. But Vietnamese coffee flavored cake.
Oh, a Vietnamese coffee flavored cake?
Yes.
I can look into it.
Or a chai.
I can figure it out.
Or chai. Chai frosting.
Chai I've done. Yes, I've done a chai cake before. That is delicious.
Let me write this down. Because I might need this idea for an upcoming thing. All right. I got to say, as I was researching you, Sarah Maroney, from Cakes by Pip, I saw something on your website. And it said this. It said, you can celebrate anything with a cake. A birthday, an anniversary, even Wednesday, a day of the week. And this struck me that this sounds like a philosophy. It's a philosophical statement of a kind. And I just wanted to ask you to elaborate on that a little bit.
I think that's me telling people you don't have to wait for special occasions to buy cake from me in my way. Yes, cakes and sweet treats help celebrate big occasions, but in my house, we have dessert probably way more than we should. But you can still celebrate little things. You can just get a treat just to have a treat. And I think that'll be easier once I get like that sample box going and other offerings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's big to say, because everyone goes, oh, I'll wait till the next birthday. Oh, I'll wait for this to try them. Why? Why do you have to wait?
Right.
Just get one.
Right.
Just get one to have it.
Like a 90s cereal cake.
Yeah. That's just something that should be experienced and celebrated because it's possible.
Because it's time for cake.
It's just cake. It's time for cake.
Because somebody thought of that, it must be eaten.
That's right.
Because
it's Wednesday and I need cake.
Yeah, no, to my mind, I was reading that and I was thinking to myself, wow, that really is a beautiful testament to the idea that anything can be celebrated. And it got me reflecting that we don't celebrate enough. We wait too often for that next big landmark thing to just slow down and appreciate, right? And what better way to appreciate, right, than by eating life, right? Like a piece of cake, a baked good is all those things. It's fat, it's salt, it's sugar, it's cream. It is like life itself, its sustenance, all of it, bundled up into a delicious, good-looking little bundle.
Oh my God, he's fantasizing
right.
about cake again.
I was literally looking at your head. It's turning into a cupcake, Stompin' Jen. No, so I was just struck by that, and I think it's an important sentiment, and I think it's a beautiful sentiment in a sense. So thank you for putting it on your website.
Good. I do have one customer that she's a repeat, and she does treat cake like that, and I love it. She goes and she visits with the same friends every month or two, and every time they get a cake and they sit down, they eat their cake and they enjoy it, and they get a different one every single time.
Oh, I want a cake of the month, a monthly cake. What about a malted chocolate frosting?
I could definitely do that.
Yeah. So many possibilities.
I'm working on the summer flavor combinations right now. So
I would love to eat a summer cake in a field.
Oh my God.
With a some kind of wicker chair.
Oh my God.
And a bamboo table.
We're going to have to tell April to listen to this episode back so she can write down all of these ideas.
We need some photography now.
Oh my God.
A glass of...
We should get all the men who eat cake calendar.
Absolutely amazing.
That would be so much fun. I can see it in my head.
I'm pretty sure I could afford a brick and mortar if we publish something like that.
Wouldn't that be fun?
All the funds,
right? I think that would be
that would be great.
I think we should start working on it.
I'm serious about these fantasies, by the way.
I am serious about this collaboration.
Think we should make this happen.
All right. Sarah Maroney from Cakes by Pip. Anything else you want to tell us? Anything else you want to talk to us about before we get to our final two questions?
I think we covered most of it. Most of the cakes that I do are these cute little, I shouldn't say little, I consider them little 6-inch tall, cakes. You can't see my hands, but I'm talking with my hands. And one thing that I do for whoever's listening and wants to give Cakes by Pip a chance for this is I do want to break into the bigger kind of wedding cake market as well to start doing. And I know this past year I did a lot of micro wedding cakes because times were different and that was called for. I'm doing one in May coming up. I have another one soon. And I'm sure I'll have a few more throughout the summer and fall, but I do want to start breaking into kind of that more grandiose, really elaborate big cake too, because that's a market that takes time to get into because it's a lot of trust to put into your cake maker. So for whoever's listening, you can trust me and I can do that.
Wedding cakes, people.
Yes. Yeah. Wedding cakes.
Sweet. We're outside wedding. Everyone we know is married.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay. All right. Our last two questions, and then we're going to let you go. Go take care of that new little baker of yours that you've got over there in the Pip Kingdom, the Pip Castle.
All right. Get to it.
All right. When you're not baking, when you're not taking care of the little ones, what do you like to do for fun? How do you relax? How do you practice self-care?
What is relaxing? What is that? I run. Running is my only relaxation thing, I'd say. I run as much as I can. I'm hoping to be able to run even more coming up soon.
Nice.
That's the biggest kind of relaxation piece I have. Other than that, we get outside all the time as much as we can. We barely have the TV on in our house, which is lovely. So we're outside most of the time. I do other work it's not really relaxing, but I enjoy it a lot. I work with the Belchertown Community Alliance with that on the side, doing work in our community. I kind of dip my fingers into our town government way more than I should.
Yeah, and I'll remind people you came on here and talked to us about that, so people can go back and listen to that episode about everything that's happening there.
And I said it right this time, so I win. So that's really kind of what I do outside. I'm hoping to get back into art more once life settles down from having the newborn and reintroduce that part of life again, because I find that very relaxing. Just being a family.
Nice.
Awesome. I'm going to give that all right, our final question before we say goodbye.
Final question.
All right. And you probably know this question's coming if you've listened to the podcast before. What have you experienced that you cannot explain?
Favorite question. So I answered one last time, and I saved a good one for this time.
Oh, good.
So this one is a ghost one.
Oh,
I'm a total. This is why I loved making your alien cake and everything. I love ghosts, aliens, all of that. So this one, I was living in Cape Cod. Mind you, I believe I grew up in a haunted house. So my sister and I had unexplained things all the time when we were kids. It was ridiculous. But I'll do one because when you're a kid, your memory's not as reliable. So this one, I was in college, living on Cape Cod in an older house. And I remember we had some weird things happen in the house every once in a while. And then I remember clearly coming home one day, walking in the front of the house, and no one lived on the second floor at the time. I was in a little apartment on the first floor, and clear as day, I remember walking past, and I just happened to look up at the top floor, that big bay window on the top floor, and I saw the silhouette of a really big man, like a big shadow silhouette of a man. And it scared the living daylight out of me because I know no one else was in the house. No cars were there. No one lived upstairs. So I freaked out. I couldn't even go in the house. I called the person I was living with at the time, being like, I can't go in until you get here. And then the silhouette was gone. Didn't see it again. Jesus. About probably 2 weeks after that, I distinctly remember we were both sleeping and we got woken up in the middle of the night by the sound of like really heavy old boot steps on our apartment was right off of the front deck or front porch. So really loud, like heavy boot steps going on the wooden porch. It sounded like towards our door. So of course the person that I was living with at the time got up, looked out, nothing. And I kid you not, nothing. It was the creepiest house I think I've ever lived in. Did not live there much longer after that. Gosh. But yes, that's my ghost story. And I would hear creaks whenever I was home alone in that house up on the second floor. Nobody lived there, and it was just I can't explain it. I can never explain it.
Thank you.
Yes. So there you go. I've been saving this. I've been waiting to tell this.
More evidence of the paranormal stomping Jen.
Out there.
We've collected yet another story to add.
Yeah, excellent.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. All right. Sarah Maroney from Cakes by Pip. Did you hear that echo?
I do.
I can't explain this.
I can't either.
This must be something with the Zoom. Okay, it worked itself out. I want to say this to you, Sarah. Thank you for coming on and talking to us. I learned a tremendous amount about cakes.
I think Sarah learned a lot about you talking about cakes.
I learned a lot about what it's like to start a business based on a lifelong passion. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm inspired. Mm-hmm. And I enjoyed hearing all about what you're doing there. And I think other people will too. So thank you for coming on and talking to us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Listeners, Stomping Jen has something that she wants to say. Go ahead.
Do.
Yes, please.
We love you. What else do you want me to say?
No, that was it. Good job.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you. Thank you for listening. Yeah.
If you like what you hear.
Yeah, thank you. Do what?
Share with a friend.
Sorry, I'm just staring at you and I can't think for some reason. What? I don't know why. I'm like...
Go away.
I don't know what it is.
Subscribe.
Download. Leave a review. I will report. Somebody left a 1-star review recently.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, but they didn't...
say why?
Say why. Now, I love negative reviews, so if you have one, please. You won't hurt my feelings if you tell us what you didn't like.
Yeah, what didn't you like?
Please.
How can we improve if you don't tell us?
I'm not interested in improving. But seriously, thank you for listening. We do love you. Let's go around and do a bye now. Mm-hmm. Who wants to go first? I should go last. I have to go last because I've got to time the buttons.
Oh my gosh. All right, bye now.
Okay, Sarah, give us a bye now. Oh, sorry, I talked over you. Go ahead.
Bye now.
Okay, people.
All right, people, bye now.
Bye now.
This world of ours
ever growing smaller, must avoid becoming a community of dreadful fear and hate. Those who have freedom will understand also its heavy responsibility. That all who are insensitive to the needs of others will learn charity, and that the sources, scourges of poverty, disease, and ignorance will be made disappear from the earth. And that in the goodness of time, all peoples will come to live together in a peace guaranteed by the binding force of mutual respect and love. I shall never cease to do what little I can to help the world advance along that road.